So we have a pretty extraordinary panel up here today. They all sent me bios, but I'm not reading them because I'm going to actually tell what I love about all of them. And so I will tell you, first of all, Gail and Val are gals that I met. I met Gail about a couple years ago, I guess. She called me and she says, hey, I'd love for you to come help me train my agents. And I'm like, okay. So we went to meet at a little restaurant in Folsom, and we sat there for, I think, 3 hours and just yik-yacked the whole time, right? And her and Val have built an extraordinary business. We're going to let them talk in just a moment. And then Amanda Todd is one of my longtime good friends. I met her when she was pretty brand new in the business. And we got to spend quite a bit of time together, and I kept saying, girl, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I remember watching her. She was doing a lot on the public speaking circuit and a number of other things. She has 3 children. She's been mostly a single mom, but she's now remarried. And she's working on her law degree. Like, she doesn't have enough to do, right? She's working on her law degree. She's like, hey, I have a class in the morning before this event, so I'm going to be on the last panel, right? So she was literally doing an online class for working on her law degree. And she runs an extraordinary team, does high amount of volume, and is fantastic. And we have Julie Patterson, who I don't actually know very well, but everyone recommended. They're like, you got to have her on the panel. So I'm excited to hear her talk a bit today, and I think she's going to do an extraordinary job. And we have Renee Friedrich, who has an awesome team up in the El Dorado Hills area with her husband, Mike. And they were lifesavers for me last summer. Just so you know, it takes a village, right? When I was going through cancer treatment last year, I got a big REO assignment that I just was like, how am I going to do this? Because I was literally very sick. And I called them, and they're like, we're in. We'll help you. We'll do whatever. And they took over that listing for me and really ran with it and handled the entire thing while I was sick, going through chemo treatment. So I'm super grateful for them. And Elizabeth Riley, who is a luxury agent out of Austin, Texas. She has not a team. Not a team. So she's going to talk about that. And she's also going to speak for a few minutes after the panel today on leadership, and then we'll dive into lunch. So thank you, ladies, for being here today. I'm super excited to have you. So I'm laughing because a couple of these guys sent me lists of questions last night. And I'm like, I'm not using your questions, but I might. So I actually pulled up their questions. And again, I just want to reiterate why I did this is because I really wanted to hear what they had to say when they weren't planned, right? Because we all have all kinds of stuff and things in our head. And they're all extraordinary leaders in their own right. And everybody that's been on this panel today, on all 3 of the panels, have just done an extraordinary job. And I don't think we get enough credit for what we do on a daily basis. And running a team is a challenge. I mean, there's a lot of positives to it, and there's a lot of challenges to it. And I just think that it's so extraordinary to have these women here who can give us some advice. Because for many of us, that's our goal, right? We want to be able to leverage our time. We want to be able to build a team. We want to be able to do those things. But for some of us, we feel like we're on an island and we don't know what to do or how to do it. So I'm going to dive into some of their questions because they're actually pretty good questions and I love them. So I'm going to start with, how many years have you actually been in business? Elizabeth? Oh, wait, you have the mic. We'll start with Renee. She's got the microphone.
I have the mic. You should never...
And a mic. Her husband's name is Mike.
I do have a mic at home, too. Yes. So Mike got in the business first, actually, in 2004. And then we'd always worked together. That's how we met. And so I actually joined him in the business in 2007 when I also figured out that I was not the best stay-at-home mom and that I needed to have a break from my boys. So I was all in for, yes, I can go and talk to people. And, okay, that sounds good. I'll do that. So 2007, I got my license.
Awesome. Thank you. Julie?
I was actually in lending first, so I had a mortgage company and very well planned, it wasn't planned, but it worked out perfect. I sold it in 2006, so that worked out really good for me, and I cruised for a little bit, and then I got my broker's license in 2008 and opened up my boutique real estate brokerage that I have now. So I never really worked at a company per se, but technically been in the business since around like 95.
There you go.
So I've been in the business longer than I've been licensed. My entry into real estate actually was when my mother sold her home in Fair Oaks And I remember the broker, who will remain unnamed, the broker put the sign in the yard and the flyers in the box. And I pulled the flyer and I said, oh, hell no, this is not how you're selling my mom's house. And so that was my entry level into real estate. Back then, I started doing marketing. He was like, well, great, make me some flyers. And so I started doing that until 2012. And then I got licensed, and I've been doing it since.
Awesome. Gail?
So this will be my 7th year. I was a wedding photographer for 25 years. Had a bad accident on my horse. I couldn't use my right hand for almost 2 years, and somebody said, you have a great personality. You should be a realtor. And I thought that was a horrible idea, but here I am.
What's funny is I have a picture that was taken of me that my husband has, that is one of the best pictures that's ever been taken of me, in my opinion, and she just randomly happened to take the picture. So I think it's funny. I have that picture still. It's awesome. Amanda?
So I got licensed in the summer of 2013, but I was going through a really horrific divorce, so I didn't actually start working in real estate till 2014. And so I had been a stay-at-home mom for almost 10 years before that.
Awesome. Elizabeth?
I've been in the business a little over 16 years. Kind of like you, this was not my burning passion to be a real estate agent. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and my husband and I had rental properties, and my CPA told me, told us, one of you has to get your real estate license because you're losing a ton of money. And my husband looked at me and said, you're getting your license? I was like, I'm not interested in that. So I got my license kicking and screaming. I was a complete brat about it. I will admit that, and only because he's not here, I will admit that. And I went to a company there. I was in a couples Bible study, and 4 of the men were all real estate agents at different companies. I was like, this is what I have to do. And so I went to one brokerage and realized I'm not going to knock on doors. I'm not going to cold call. I'm just going to be me if I have to do this. And so I just told my friends, hey, I got my license, and so that's how my business started building up. I was like, well, this is kind of fun. This isn't really work. I'm working with my friends. And so I built my business, became a top producer there, and we were in Atlanta when the market crashed, and then my husband was transferred to Austin, Texas. So I started over my business in 2008 in Austin, where everybody thought I was crazy because don't you know it's such a bad market? And I was like, well, I just came from short sales and foreclosures. This is opportunity. So I built my business up, and I have been a top agent since probably 2010 in Austin.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, the next question is, what would you say is the formula to becoming a top agent? Like what would you say is your number one success tip for becoming a top agent? Yeah, start.
For me, it's being who you are, being genuine and authentic to who you are. It's too much work to try to be somebody else, and this is why I tell everybody, and Marguerite said it earlier, comparison kills joy. So I just figure out who I want to be, and I'm going to, your vibe is going to attract your tribe, and so that is how I've built my business. I did $30 million last year, 77 transactions as an individual agent, all 100% referral. And so if you're just being the person that you want to be, and you're wanting to work with the people, and you're wanting to be the person that you want to be, as well as I treat everybody like I want to be treated. And so I go above and beyond. I treat everybody like they're my one and only client. And so if you're doing a good job for the right reasons, the business is going to come.
One of my big secrets, especially as being a mom, is that I get up early every morning, like without fail. I have to be up hours before my children. I have to be up hours before my phone starts blowing up, because that is when you can handle your day proactively instead of reactively. And so that was the thing that I just started very early on in my career, is getting up every morning and being very intentional with my day, because let's face it, this business, you can be putting out fires all day long. But if you are very intentional and the things you get done very first thing in the morning before the world wakes up, then it's okay to handle the fires because you already got the things accomplished very early in the morning before the rest of the world woke up.
I would totally agree with that. I think in order to become a top agent, you have to surround yourself with top agents, right? So they say you are the 5 closest people around you. So when I got into this business, I was really successful as a wedding photographer, and that was because I sought out photographers in Australia, in Malaysia, the people that were amazing. So I made a decision in the beginning, let's identify, who are the top agents in this industry? So my first job, I had worked for a gal named Connie Barnes, and I worked for 10% commission. And people go, what? why would you do that? I'm like, you know what? I wanted always to be a Navy SEAL. My two sons are in the Navy. You know, they had really amazing careers and very, very well disciplined. So when I worked for Connie, you know, it was a great experience. I learned a lot of things. Whoever you work for, you're going to learn for. You're going to learn what to do and what not to do. So she never loved the business. She retired since then. And I made, you know, enough to survive. I knew in the beginning you have to have, and I'm speaking to new agents or people that have just been in this, you know, maybe for under 3 years. You have got to have enough money to survive, right? So then my next agent I worked for was Nick Sadik. And I found him by accident. I was doing a FSBO call because I'm a prospector. I've been coached by many coaches. I currently have 3 coaches. Every athlete has a great, you know, has multiple coaches. So if you want to perform at your top level, you have got to absorb and be a sponge and be willing. Like when I started working for Nick, which was before Sotheby's, it was just he and I. I mean, I would do everything from take his car to the car wash to pick up his dog. I bought him his first dog. I set up his database. I did his business cards. I did 12-hour days consistently, and I did 4 open houses every weekend. So you've got to really put yourself out there and not just want to do it, but really be goal-oriented, goal-minded. I have very, very clear goals, and that's how I run everything in my life, whether I'm paddleboarding, whether I'm, you know, being a grandmother, whether being a mom, whatever. I have goals and very, very high expectations. So to be a top agent, you have to have goals. You have to put in 7, you know, in the beginning, 7 days a week. If you have weekends off, I mean, now, this is my 7th year, I have the luxury of having a Sunday off. I'm working this Sunday. I'm doing 2 open houses because this is a contact sport, and I'm not a secret agent. Somebody has said, you know, talked about secret agents. But it's a lot of freaking work. And what this lady said right here, being consistent, you have to be consistent. You've got to have a calendar that reflects your priorities. Because if you don't, you're going to get, you know, just sidelined by all the shiny objects. And believe me, I spent a lot of money on stupid stuff. So, you know, the best thing you could do is prospect, prospect, and prospect.
Absolutely. All problems can be solved by prospecting.
I couldn't agree more with everything that these 3 ladies have spoken of, and I think I'm fully in alignment with what they've already said. For me, in addition to those things and being consistent and surrounding myself with people who are greater than I my entire career, my personal formula has always been serve and sacrifice. You know, I've had agents that have approached me that I've mentored or worked alongside throughout the years that say, like, Val, I don't understand. Like, I get the whole good shepherd mentality, and yeah, it's nice to do these things, but like, how do you do it? And how do you make the time to do that? And like, I can't do that because I have X, Y, and Z that I need to do. And so for me, my mindset has just, you know, always been, if you serve, things will follow. And if you sacrifice, good things will come. And so aside from prayer and petition, service and sacrifice have been my personal formula over the course of my career.
Amazing. Thank you.
So it's hard being at the end of this because all the things I was going to say have already been said, but I agree with all of them. I have coaches. I also believe in serving before you sell. And another thing that I think is important is that people don't remember what you say, but they remember how you made them feel. And so making sure you take the time to really not just tell people something, but really mean it and listen to what they have to say so that you're able to serve them in the best capacity. And systems, that's another thing. I don't think there's any possibility of being a top agent if you don't have systems in place. So early on, if you don't have, in our lives, we either have more time or more money. And so leverage whichever one of those you have more of. So sometimes when you first get started, you don't have a lot of money to do a lot of the things that people think it takes to be a top agent. So put the time in to get those systems in place before you take off, and you're going to reap the rewards of that after.
Fantastic.
And I have to be the very last, so thanks for all that. I would totally agree, and Mike and I have multiple coaches as well, and we have since the very beginning. If I had to go back in time, I would say get a coach faster even than we did. Our first coach we hired in March of 2008, and really we saw our business change dramatically because of the discipline, the prospecting, and getting those systems that other top producers are using. So certainly it is a contact sport. I tell people that are in our group that all the time, so I can't remember, I think Gail said that. And we talk about check equity and sweat equity quite a bit. So at the beginning, we did door knocking. My boys were 1 and 4 when we got in the business, or when I got in the business. So I would literally go door knocking with them. I'd have them in their, like 2 kids stroller. One was standing in the back, the other one was sitting in the front. And I remember one time in Natomas, I had like parked it on a driveway as I was door knocking and meeting our neighbors and all the things, and it started like going backwards into the street. So I was like, I'll be right back, and chasing after the stroller. And it made me think of Diana Kokoska talking about dragging her kids around in the red wagon, if anybody's, KW or former KW. And I was like, oh, I didn't know about that at the time, but I was like, I did that too. So I think whatever it takes at the beginning, like you have to put in the time, you have to put in that sweat equity until you can afford to have the check equity. And we have a brand new agent that just started with us, and I'm like, we need to go door knocking. We need to, now it's, people want to see each other's faces again, and it's so exciting, so let's knock on doors. We don't have to spend all the money to get the business, so it's fun to get that renewed sense of energy that she has, so.
That's awesome, thank you. Okay, the next question is, how many people are on your team, and what are you looking for in an agent who may want to join your team?
So we have more of a family team, so friends and family, I would say. So we're looking for people that really have the same goals, mindset, values as we do. And so we just have a gal that just joined us, and she, was looking at some other opportunities. And I said, that's a very, they're very business oriented. And I don't want to say that Mike and I aren't business oriented, but we do really look for balance. So we go on vacation 2 weeks at a time. He's European, so he's like, why can't we take 3 weeks vacation? And I'm like, 2 is the most. 2 is the most, honey. That's the most we can do. So when we were talking about that and just that balance of work hard, play hard, that really spoke to her. And so we're looking for people that want to have the support of a team so that they can go live their lives and have their, best experiences and be supportive of one another. So we have an operations assistant who is here, Sarah, and then we have a virtual assistant in the Philippines who just joined us probably 3 months ago, and he's awesome. He's totally taking some load off of Sarah so she can work with clients too, because she's also licensed, and then we have 3 other licensed agents beside Mike and myself.
That's fantastic, thank you. And I'll just before, one thing I'll say too is that personally, I will take hustle over experience. So I'll take someone who has the hustle and the drive and the energy to get out there and do whatever it takes over somebody who has experience, I'd love to see both when possible, but in the ideal world, I'll take somebody who's willing to hustle way over somebody with experience.
I love a saying. I'm like such a sucker for sayings. So that saying, hustle and heart, is what sets you apart. It's so true. So I think anytime anybody says something, I'm like, oh, there's a saying for that, definitely. We have, so our team it's a brokerage, so it's not really, my team is my brokerage, luckily. So everybody runs their own kind of business, but together I think we have a slightly different, the team that we have is more focused on supporting one another and helping one another. So there's 9 of us, and everyone, we can all count on each other. If someone is gone, I'm sure that's the same in your team as well, people can cover. I don't doubt for 1 second, if I'm not available, that I can send anyone that is in my group, and they're going to serve my client well, and my client's going to feel comfortable and know that they're okay and that they're in good hands. And so that has been a huge factor. We are more social media oriented than I'm a video marketing and social media marketing has been a big part of my business, and so that's been our focus on our team. So having people that join our crew is more about having the similar mindset about that and wanting to build in that regard. But I think we probably all have pretty similar goals for our teams.
So our team is expanding by the minute. Thank you, Marguerite, for your support in that. You've been wonderful in helping us facilitate. So for those of you who have known Gail or I, you may or may not know that we've been Turner DeMarco for about 3.5 years, and then we actually just merged a very, very exciting partnership with Jay Friedman. So for those of you who are over here on the Placer County side, you probably know him. He's an amazing, amazing human. So we are now officially Turner DeMarco Friedman. And our team, our immediate team of Gail and I's and El Dorado side consists of 12 of us, 13 of us in production, including Gail and myself. And we have 4 admins and 2 assistants. We also just added a director of operations, Brian Lewis, who came from Remax. And he has been a huge, huge, huge pillar of our support and our ability to grow, retain, support, and expand. And Jay has a few folks that have come over. He was with iSmart, for those of iSmart Home Care? HomeSmart Eye Care Realty previously, and I think he has 3 team members that have merged over with him. So our team is somewhere in the realm of around 20 in production, and an amazing group of admins that really are the backbone for what we do. Gail can elaborate a bit more on that.
And, you know, I want to go back to that because we've always been really small and intimate. Like when Val and I, you know, became a team, which was 3 years ago, it was to have leverage, you know, because like you said, you either have time or you have, you know, money. And so when you finally become a top agent, you have money, but you have no time, and everybody alienates you, right? Your family, your husband, your, you know, your kids. And so we always said, we don't want a team bigger if we don't know who their spouses' names are and their kids' names are. So that was really important to us. And I will just put it out there, you know, since it's raw and real, we are a faith-based team. You know, we love Jesus, and we really believe that God's always going to put the right people in front of us at the right time for the right reason. And once we changed our whole team dynamic and said, okay, we're going to put God first. He is our team leader. And then we're going to put our family second. And then we're going to put our business third. Oh, my gosh, our business it exploded. So we really, truly live in the life of abundance. On our team, it's very, very different. We split every deal. I'm still able to make over $1 million a year by splitting every deal because we don't kind of go out on our own unless it's buyers. I don't work buyers. Val works very few buyers. But when we're looking for somebody on the team, you know, in the beginning, I mean, people didn't want to work for me or work with me because I'm hard. You know, I'm very, very, I demand a lot. Because if you sit in front of me and tell me you want to make $1 million or you want to make $500,000 and you're not doing the actions and I give you the roadmap, that is frustrating to me. It's like when kids say, Mom, I'm going to do better, I'm going to do better, I'm going to study, and they don't, you know, and they're smoking pot in the garage, right? So it's like you've got to figure out, if you say something, do it. So once, you know, Val kind of calmed me down a little bit, and I realized not everybody is me. And thank God, right? Because she's completely my opposite. She's half my age, twice, you know. Yeah, and, you know, and when Val and I merged, I said to her, I go, my biggest regret is not spending the time with my kids. Because you know, back then we didn't have nannies, you know. We didn't have that. You know, I'm 64 this year, so it's...
She looks pretty amazing, does she not?
Yeah. So, you know, for me, I get great joy out of seeing her or other team members. Like I just got an invite after my open house to go to a birthday party for one of our team members. That brings me great joy. So when I'm looking for somebody, like right now I very rarely take new agents, but we've got like David Eads in the room. His wife works for Remax, and she called me up and said, I got somebody for you. And because we're with the EXP, everybody thinks every time we call them, we're trying to recruit them. It's the opposite. Everybody calls me, and I'm, you know, so I don't make recruitment calls. When I'm looking for a new agent, I'm looking for somebody who's hungry, somebody who has a life experience, somebody who doesn't dress like a hoochie mama. I'm looking for somebody, if it's a guy. Oh, can I just tell you, I love that. I love that table. I love these girls. I want to party with you. But seriously, like, you know, when this guy, David Eads, came into my office, he looked good, his shoes were amazing, he had great socks, and he's like, I used to run a team of 200 people, and COVID destroyed it. When somebody tells me a story, if you have a story and you want to, be a reflection of what our team is, and you want to put the work in, I will pour into you. Even if you're not on our team, we've always been an open book. Some realtors are like, if I tell you, you'll take mine. Well, guess what? How often do we all come against each other? We don't. We don't. So you get what you give. So when I'm looking for somebody, I'm just looking for somebody who has a heart and wants it bad.
Thank you.
So I could just echo what she said. If I can tangent a little bit, I'll tell you a little bit about my teams. And if you want to know the wrong way to do teams, come ask me, because I've done it in every shape and size. So I'm really great at telling you all the ways not to do it. And thankfully, I have some really good ways to do it as well. I'm licensed in 3 states, so I also have teams in 3 states. There was one point I had 37 agents, and yeah, you look at the gross commission that's coming in and you're like, wow, that's a really great number. And then you look at the number you're hanging on to and you're like, yeah, this isn't worth it. And Marguerite and I had many conversations about that. I love this woman.
My old kitchen table, which is now gone, but
Oh,
we have
that's
because my house is being remodeled, but
Yes, I
we
did
sat
see
at that table.
But one of the things that I will tell you, and like Gail was saying, I mean, the people that we look for. When I had this giant team, it was so frustrating because I was pouring my heart and soul into coaching and training people, and they wouldn't put in the work. And then they'd come and say, well, I'm not doing any deals. And I'd say, well, okay, let's sit down and talk about what we talked about. Are you getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning? How badly do you really want it? And one of my favorite pictures is the ballet slippers. It's somebody wearing point shoes on one foot, and then you see this just bloody, mangled foot on the other side. And it says, everybody wants to be successful until they see what it takes. And so people come and say to me, oh my gosh, I can never get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm like, okay, that's fine, but don't come tell me you want the life that I've built because you're not willing to put in the work that it takes. And so like a lot of these ladies have said, to me, it's more about, are you going to put in the work? What do you want out of this? It's not what do you want me to hand to you. It's what do you want out of your business? What do you want your relationship with your clients to be like? What do you want your reputation in the industry to be? Because I'm sure all of these ladies would attest, and I've heard it, with the other panels, it's all about the relationships that we build in this room. And I can tell you, when I was a brand new baby agent, the agents who were kind to me, the people, the affiliates who saw in me because they knew that I had the drive. I might not have had the transaction numbers under my belt yet, but the people who believed in me and had that abundance mentality that we're all about making our industry a better place. And you know what? We're not all perfect. I think I heard Kate be like, we've all made mistakes. We all have. Are there people that we wish we could have had better interactions with? Absolutely. But overall, this industry is a very small place. And so it's very important to remember. I think, Julie, you were the one that said, I love that Maya Angelou quote, that people will always remember how you made them feel. And I don't carry a grudge. That's not my personality in any way, shape, or form. But just remember that when you put in the work, when you have the abundance mindset, when you have the kindness and the collaborative mindset, that's what we're here for. We're not here to be adversarial with each other. We're here to work together. And so circling back to the question, what would I look for on my team? It's somebody who is willing to put in the work and to implement. If there is one piece of what I did and how I built my career as a single mom with 3 babies, any piece of advice I got, I worked so hard to implement that. We can go to conferences. You can all leave here today with a pad full of notes and things, but what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do to implement it? And so what do I want on my team? I want people who are willing to put in the work, people who want to build a legacy, not just have something handed to them. And so I have admin, I have agents in multiple states, I have admin in multiple states. I can tell you every format of how to run a team, how to be on a team, how to be a part of it. But what it really comes down to at the end of the day is what kind of work do you want to put in? Do you want to work 7 days a week? Because I'm kind of a workaholic and I do love working. Or do you want to get to the point where you're taking a day or a week or 3 weeks off? Figure it out. Figure out what that ideal life looks like, and work backwards. And I guarantee you're going to find a team or someone who will mentor you to start a team to look like that.
Thank you.
So it's kind of a joke. I'm a non-team because I really don't have a team, but I act like I'm a team. So I'm on the team panel, so I count now, right? I'm legit. I should have been on the mom team because I'm a hot mess. Who said they were a hot mess? Like, oh, spirit animal over there. Yeah, no. No, so for me, my husband always would say real estate's not a team sport. And I would always tell him I disagree, because I'm a very relational person and I want people around me, and I succeed by watching others succeed. That fills my cup. But I don't, and I feel very alone, and I'm not as creative. And so when I was at my old brokerage, I was there for 10 years, and when I was leaving, I had a number of people that are really close to me saying, hey, we want you to go start your own brokerage. It's like, I don't want to start my own brokerage. And they're like, why wouldn't you want to do that? I was like, I don't want to be boss, right? I've got 4 kids and a husband, so that's really my 5th, because he's not here. So he's my 5th child. But I didn't want to have my own brokerage because I've got Team Riley, right? And that's my team. But I really thought that there was some value in having people surrounding you and building each other up. So the brokerage that I've been at for over 6 years, they give us that flexibility. So while I call it a non-team team, it's really a self-organized team. So I have the Lux Property Group. I own the brand. I own the LLC. I'm an independent agent with our company. And then I have 4 other agents, actually a 5th, 5 other agents that work under my brand, but they're their own individual agent. But to the public and to the clients, we look like a team, and we can compete. In Austin, we have a lot of small boutiques, and so we had to be a little bit more competitive. And so there's 5 of us or 6 of us, and we all specialize in different things and different parts of the area. I'm a listing specialist. I have some of them that work buyers. I used to love buyers until I realized I don't like buyers. And so I haven't been in a car with a buyer in I don't know how many years. I know, it's like, and my husband laughs. He's like, you used to love buyers. I was like, yes, and then I grew up. So they wear me out. But so we structure it that way, but we meet every Monday, right? I mean, we act like a team. They're marketing. They have brand guidelines. What's nice, too, is that leverage. Leverage is so important, because if you're an independent agent, it's hard to do it all on your own, especially when you're a mom, like we've been talking about. And so for me, like right now I have 2 listings launching, but Stephanie's launching one and Leanne's launching another. And so I am the point of contact with my clients, again, because my business is all referral. They're wanting me, or they think they want me, until I'm letting them know, no, I have somebody better. But we go in together, and I let them know, look, there's 2 of us working on this. You've got this whole team, but Stephanie and I are going to be your point person, so they're not reliant on me. So the non-team team structure works for me just because I don't want to be boss. I'm not Catholic, but I have Catholic guilt, and if somebody didn't have a deal or couldn't pay their bill, I mean, like, that would eat me up inside. So this way, we're all collaborating together. And our founder talked about last year that just really moved me. He talked about pain versus purpose. Right? And I think for many of us, you're trying to get out of that pain or that hamster wheel or the bills or things like that. But then once you get past that, what's your purpose? And I realized my purpose is building I'm out of the pain, but my purpose is not the transactional stuff every time, but it's giving me a means to help so many more people build their business. So you just have to figure out how you want to do it. And you can have a team and leverage it without having a formal team, if that makes sense. And so to go back to the question, if I were to have somebody on my team, I have a unique situation where I have a pretty large organization across the globe. So what I'm starting to do now is rely on my team a little bit more and step out of the production and let them handle that, so I can support my organizations across the goal and across the board. And what I tell them is just like you guys are saying, if you show up and you plug in, you're not going to fail. I think we make it look really easy, right? And behind the scenes, it's not easy. I mean, we are struggling every day with different things and making it all come into play. But I let them know, look, you have the resources. Proximity is power. You know, show up, learn from the people that you want to learn from. If you have a listing or a luxury listing, like, they'll come to me and they're like, what do I do? Well, ask somebody to co-list it with you. Find somebody that's doing things better than you or bigger than you or that you want to be like and shadow them. I have people call me and shadow all the time. I tell you, we're all givers. We want to help. We want to see everybody succeed. So you just have to ask the question, show up and plug in. If you're that type of a person, man, you're in my circle immediately.
Love it. That's awesome. Okay, so one last question, and then we'll wrap up this panel, and we're going to have Elizabeth actually come up and speak, and then we'll have lunch. So the last question is, why did you decide to partner or create a team? What motivated you to create a team? Or your non-team?
I think I just answered mine.
So she just answered her question, the non-team team.
For me, it was that I was starting to do a lot of business, and I saw stuff start slipping through the cracks, and that's actually why I hired my first assistant, because being a mom is my top priority. And my business is also like my next baby as well, and so the last thing I ever wanted was for somebody to get subpar service. And so because of that, that's when I started hiring people. That's actually what I did first, is I hired assistants first, hourly employees, and then turned them to salary, things like that. And because I decided that my quality of life with my children and my quality of life with my business was more important than having this super high number coming home. As long as I had kind of this, medium number where I'm comfortable, happy, money's in the bank, I can live a good life with my kids. The rest, I don't treat my corporation like an ATM. I pay myself a salary and that's it. And so it made me decide to start a team when I was doing more business than stuff falling through the cracks. And kind of like Elizabeth said, when your business is mostly referral-based, people want to work with you or think they want to work with you. And so it's really helping relate to your clients. I don't ever call anybody on my team like my buyer's agent or this and that. They're my business partners. And so when I'm introducing them to other clients, I'm introducing them to my business partner. And so especially when it's a referral situation like that, they enjoy getting to work with my business partner. So I started a team so that I could still be the mom I wanted and the business owner that I wanted and still provide the level of service that I felt like I wanted to provide to my clients.
Thank you.
It's pretty simple. You need somebody to laugh with. It's way more fun. We deal with a lot of psychotic people. So this one here does verbal judo when I'm out. And it's just, and it's funny because one of my coaches, the Mike Ferry coach, and he's like, Gail, you gave away $1.4 million in commission this year. And I'm like, you know what? But I still made $1.3 million, and I had a freaking great life. I don't work, after 5, and I'm able to bless other people on our team. I would never do this job alone because, my husband says misery loves company, but I love my job now. I didn't like it in the beginning because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. How do you think I'd learned? Because I surrounded myself with rock stars. And even now, every single deal, I'm like, how did I get spanked? How did I not think of that? So to be able to gather around and bless other people in our team. I have a guy that has only been on our team 3 years. He's 28 years old. And through our, I'm the buffalo hunter. He made $437,000 last year. He's 28 years old. He was a Marine. Yeah. No, but I do. No, I'm like, no, but honestly, it's like we just have so much more fun, and there's so much I need to learn, and learning is earning. And just being surrounded with people like Brian Lewis, who was like our operations manager, who just can pour into us and just calm me down, because this is such an intense business if you're going to do it at a high level. And Val and I have late night cocktails. We're drinking buds, right? So it's like we have late night cocktails and conversations, and it could be a whole 6-pack. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. No, it's not that much. But
only
it's
a
just,
6-pack?
No, it's IPA. But, it's just so much more fun. You have to be passionate and have fun in this job, and it can suck the fun out of you. So that's why I love surrounding myself with, a team of Navy SEALs, and this is why I love to go to work every day, because I'm surrounded by people that are more amazing than me.
Love it.
Amen to that. Yeah, we do have a lot of fun. We definitely do. I think back about 3.5 years before we partnered, and we were both a little out of our mind. I think we were both falling victim to the whole psychotic nature of this industry and really questioning our own morals. Why I stay a part of this team, I mean, why I joined, I could bore your ears off about why we partnered, but this is a tough industry. This is difficult. Being a mom is difficult. I have 5 children under the age of 12 until this Friday. She'll be 13, God help me. And it's a real thing. I mean, you have to divide yourself, right? All of us women, we have to divide ourselves into all of these different roles, and it can be very lonely. And so for me, having a partnership and having a team environment, I'm off the island. I'm not sitting somewhere on an island trying to figure it all out by myself. And I don't just have a great partner. I have a lot of help, too. I have 2 nannies. I have an assistant who's here in the room. I have my former assistant who's here in the room who's now licensed and an agent. I mean, to surround yourself with people who lift you up, who remind you that you're normal despite how much of a hot mess that you really are, or your kids make you feel like you're crazy. It just takes the loneliness out, puts the fun in, and although we do still work very, very hard, I mean, I have to say, even though sometimes we'll take a Sunday off and go paddleboarding, or we'll take a Saturday off, we're still working, you know? This is not a job that you turn off, even if you go silent for a few hours. Like, your brain is always still on in this business if you're serving clients. So to have somebody that you can call in the car and vent and be like, oh my God, these people are nuts. And they get it, like they understand it. I mean, yeah, if you're a solo agent, you probably have some colleagues or some, friends in the industry, but to have that like ride or die person that is your partner or on your team or just in that grind with you, knows your mess, like you're okay with them showing up to your front porch at 8:30 in the morning, your hair is still in a side bun, you're supposed to be out the door in a listing appointment in 20 minutes, and she's like, girl, I got you, it's okay, like I will go put a diaper on the baby right now, you just go fix this. You girls in the audience know who you are. You have supported me throughout the years. So that is why I joined and why I stay a part of the amazing team that I'm blessed to be with.
I love it.
So I always think, like, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And so being around people, when you're trying to do this by yourself, it's not very fun. It is not a good time to try to sit here and do all the things that are necessary. So when you have a group of people that are your friends first, and that you can serve each other and do have the phone calls. And Kate, Tustin, how are we not friends? I don't have any idea. I feel like
y'all need to be friends with Kate. I promise you.
I know. You guys wear any day I get to wear a costume is a good day. We miss the memo. I don't know, but by having the group of people together that you're working with for all the same reasons that these guys said, it fills your cup up. Like you can go, and I have girls on my team that are strong where I am weak. And so when there's areas that I'm not good at, someone can step in and be better in that area. So we're better together than we are individually. And so that is a huge impact and a huge service to our clients, where we know if I need help in organization, my girl Becky back there rocks that, like helps me. I am a hot mess, if anybody knows me. I am so not organized. If you give me a piece of paper, 100% guarantee I'm probably going to lose it. I mean, if I don't give it to I literally drive paperwork to Becky's house and be like, can you put this where it's supposed to go, because I will lose it if I bring it home. So, but if you have people that you know that can help in those areas for you, by having a team, you can do so much more. And so it's important to just have people that you're surround yourself with that make you better by their skills.
Love it. Fantastic.
So I'm married to my partner, so it just kind of seemed logical that we would work together. It does make it harder for vacations, and actually, I don't know if it's yesterday or today. I need to go back and look at the calendar, but Sarah's been with us for 3 years, this month, and so she's been a lifesaver and has truly become part of our family. And then we have these great new agents, and I can't imagine going back to trying to do this by ourselves. And I think about Mike, his first 3 years doing it by himself, and I would do MLS searches and stuff for him because I just thought that was fun back then, and it can be a really lonely business. So we have some other friends that are just getting ready to partner together, and I'm just so excited for them because it just makes it so much more enjoyable. You get to share, you get to have those late night cocktail conversations, and Mike and I do that on the daily, especially since COVID. And it's just, I don't know, so much more enriching to have somebody to do this with.
That's amazing. Thank you. And I'll tell you for myself, 28 years in real estate, I've had a team of every version you can imagine. I've ran, small teams to no teams to a team of 14 during the REO crisis. and, selling 200, 300, 400 homes a year. And what I love all day long is the teams that these guys have developed in just a small group of people that just want to be there for each other and work together and support and encourage each other. So if you're not part of a team, get a network around you. Get a few people around you that you can meet with on a regular basis. I remember for quite a while, Amanda and Liz, and there was a group of us that met once a month and had a little dinner, and it was so fantastic to just listen to each other and support each other and encourage each other. And now, with Mitzi and I have partnered, and we have a group that meets every Friday, and we just sit and spend a couple hours and talking about, and you guys are all welcome, anyone can come to any time, to just sit and talk about what you need and what you could get help with and what you're struggling with. So I encourage you to build that network around you, and that's really what this part was about today, this event. So let's give a big round of applause for our team leaders. They're amazing, every one of them. I'm inspired by them and so grateful to have each and every one of them a part of my life.